Today we're covering your everyday routine for the next couple of months or years. Now, we're going to cover the basics. We're talking putting on your Invisalign, taking them off, cleaning them, traveling with them, and what accessories you can get to make life easier. Sounds like a lot to cover, so let's see if we can make your Invisalign life a little bit easier. Starting at the very beginning, we're talking about putting on your Invisalign. Your ortho should have introduced your tray to you, showed you how to get them in there. Might have felt a little uncomfortable. Maybe you caught your cheeks in them and you had your hands in your mouth and you didn't know what to do. This is going to take a lot of practice. But here's my tips for how to get them on. Line up the aligners to all of your teeth first. Then slowly start to apply pressure, starting from the front, moving to the back. These are gradual movements, not quick shoves. Eventually, you'll hear it snap into place. You want to make sure it's lined up correctly and feels natural. If it feels really off or out of place, remove them and try again. Once they're on correctly, you'll want to give them a squeeze to make sure they sit in correctly. This is where a chewy comes in. A chewy looks like this. They come in various colors and shapes and sizes. Some even come flavored. This one's strawberry. The idea is that you want to put this in between your Invisalign and bite down. I usually hold for 5 seconds in each place, and I continue until everything feels like it's set. You'll see a huge difference if you don't use this versus whether you do use them. If you're interested in chewies, there's actually affiliate links for everything I'm going to talk about today in the description below. Click on those and get a quick link to Amazon to pick those up. The more practice you have putting them on and taking them off, the easier to get. Also, when you get a brand new tray, sometimes they're really stiff. You'll loosen them up as you go. By no means does it feel natural. It's going to feel very tight and it's going to feel impossible when you start trying to remove them. You're going to feel like you're stuck with them, especially if you have a lot of attachments like I did. The more attachments you have, the tighter grip the Invisalign takes. So things are going to feel weird and things are going to hurt. Sorry, you're in it. It's going to happen. If it's feeling weird, it's working. But you're going to see results. Now, if you think putting on your Invisalign is tricky, taking them off is even harder. Now, you might be told to use the finger trick. Stick your finger on the back molar and use your nail to chip away at it and pull down. And I instead purchased these little hooks that made life a whole lot easier. What I did and what worked for me was I would start on the back molar on the right side, and then the back molar on the left side, then the back of the front of the teeth. I would hook right behind the front teeth here. After getting the molars loose, the Invisalign was already halfway there, so once you pull on the back of the front teeth, it just pops right out. At least it did for me. Everyone's mouth is gonna be a little different, especially if you have a lot of crowding and a lot of buttons. Your Invisalign's not going to want to let go of your teeth. It's going to feel like it is glued on there and it does not want to come out. Just go slow and adapt. You don't want to crack your Invisalign. That's the last thing you need. All right, so great. You have them off. Now what do you do? Now you have two options, and I'll tell you what my preference was. Option one, you can brush your Invisalign immediately after you take them out. Just fine. For me, I would brush them just before I would go to put them back in. Why do I have to clean my Invisalign? Shouldn't my Invisalign still be clean? I clean them in the morning. I'm not eating with them on. I'm not drinking sodas, so they should be clean, right? Yeah, get that out of here. The simple fact is, whether you want to believe it or not, you got bacteria growing in your mouth. You're gonna have to brush your Invisalign and clean them pretty often. Cleaning your clear aligners might be easier than you actually think. It's as simple as getting the right toothbrush and some toothpaste. I personally used a denture toothbrush. I didn't see anybody doing that. It wasn't recommended to me or anything. But I noticed when I was looking up different accessories that denture toothbrushes kept coming up. And it has a wide flat side that I could brush the outside of the Invisalign with. And it also had a point on the back side of it where I can get into the little crevices. Now, whenever I was rushing or running late for work, I would brush too quickly with the pointed end and I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. When you're done cleaning, put them up to some light, take a look at what you're doing. There's some crevices that you might not notice and you want to get inside of there and make sure that you are cleaning them thoroughly. you'll notice that it starts to yellow, or maybe there's some white staining. Those things are normal, but they're not ideal. Again, get in there good, make sure you're cleaning them properly. Now, I can't tell you for sure if I was supposed to be doing this once a week or more often, less often, but I disinfected my Invisalign at least once a week. In my case, on Tuesdays, I would always change my tray the night before. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday would come along. That's 3 days. By Friday or Saturday, I would be disinfecting my Invisalign. That is a bath for your Invisalign, essentially. I have a denture wash station. Essentially, you're going to fill this up with warm water. I use these retainer bright crystals. I never really tried anything else, so I can't tell you that this is better or worse than anything else. Bought a big pack of it. It lasted me the whole time. So an affiliate link to this is in my description below too. It'll turn the warm water blue. You will see bubbles as you dip your Invisalign in there. Anything else you want to disinfect. Sometimes I'll throw my chewies in there. Sometimes I'll throw my hooks in there. And you just want to make sure all these things that you're putting in your mouth are clean. I did this once a week for my Invisalign to help keep them clear and clean. After all, point of Invisalign is that they should be invisible, and the cleaner they are, the more invisible they are. So you leave them soaking for about 15 minutes and they should be good to go. I noticed that if I just rinse them with water afterwards and try to pop them back in, it did have a taste I wasn't a fan of. So I would always brush my Invisalign afterwards anyway. So maybe if that's the day you're doing it, don't brush them, disinfect them, then brush them, then you're good to go. All this said, that's probably pretty easy to do from home. But you're not always home, are you? Traveling with them. So what does traveling with your Invisalign look like? Depends on where you're going. I couldn't imagine going to school with Invisalign. That's not to scare you, sorry. Not to scare you. But it's a lot. I have a case. This was my travel case. So in this case, it has magnets to hold it down. Got yourself a toothbrush, some toothpaste. I always kept a floss stick in there. Maybe you want to substitute that for regular floss. And then you can fit your 2 trays in the bottom here. Little tip, if you use my affiliate link and get the exact same one, there's a little diagram of how you should put your Invisalign in here. They actually work really well if you put them in the way it tells you to put them in. And there's a space on the top for the hook. So this thing's really nifty. I would put everything in here, close it up, and put it in my pocket. Now it is bulky. You'll see in the reviews, a lot of people complain that it's big. It's about as big as my forearm. Yeah, pretty much. I didn't mind. There are some other options for you, but that fit everything I needed. If I was going to work, I was going out for dinner, I was going to a family member's house, I had that case on me, my whole routine was saved. Pop out my Invisalign, rinse them, throw them in there, put it to the side. I was done eating, floss, brush my teeth, clean my Invisalign, pop them back in, put the case back in my bag or my pocket, good to go. So whatever you do, if you take anything from this video, get yourself a good case. And you're going to be doing this for months, maybe years. One of the things I preach, whether it's at work, life as a parent, just life in general, the key to consistency is ease of access. If I ever get around to making merch for this channel, that'll be on a shirt. So if you want to be consistent with your Invisalign, doing it right, keeping them clean, and making sure this process doesn't take as long as it did for me, follow those steps. Make sure you're putting them in, taking them out, cleaning them. Make sure you're not damaging your teeth or causing any delay to your progress. Now, honorable mention for accessories. We talked about chewies, hooks, having the right case, some things you might not be thinking about. As I mentioned in the previous video, you might need rubber bands. If you need rubber bands, your ortho should provide you with plenty of rubber bands. I had bags and bags and bags of them. You're gonna break a lot of them learning how to get them on. They sell little hooks that are similar to the ones you'll use for your trays, but they are designed to grab the rubber band. You can place the rubber band onto your button a little bit easier, and then once you hook it, you just pull with your little tool and wrap around the hook on your Invisalign and let go. It takes a whole lot of practice. But once you get it down, it'll be quick. Be part of your routine. You won't even have to think about it. It's another thing that fits into your case that you'll want to make sure you have packed and ready to go. I'll tell you, when you start using rubber bands and you stop suddenly, you'll feel the difference in pressure, and it'll actually cause you more headaches, maybe more pain, because things are moving at a different rate than they were. So once you get started on your rubber bands, be just as diligent about using them as you are with everything else for your Invisalign treatment. Don't skimp on your rubber bands. Another thing you might not think of that I thought about later on, if you go on a long day and you haven't eaten anything in a while, you might want to freshen up. So they sell mints that can be used with your Invisalign. I personally use these right here. They're actually pretty good. I recommend them. There'll be a link for those in the description as well. Those are all the things I use that help my Invisalign journey be as little problematic as possible. I'll tell you something though, from the time I started Invisalign to now, there are a slew of different things that I didn't even consider when I was using Invisalign. So my suggestion, head to Amazon, type Invisalign, see what comes up in the results. There's a lot of options out there that could potentially make your situation better because everyone's unique. Everyone's got different things going on. And honestly, I'd be curious to hear what there is. So if you find something that I didn't mention in today's video, leave a comment down below. I'm really curious to see what you discover. As mentioned, I do have a video planned for the future where I will talk to you about what retainer life is like. I hope you remember to hit the like button down below, and I also hope you remember to subscribe so that I get to see you again. Until then, bye everyone. I got one of these. Is it working? No.